Arsenal talks over a loan move for Chelsea's Raheem Sterling are advancing. Chelsea make a loan bid for Manchester United's Jadon Sancho. And Ivan Toney completes his Al Ali medical as Napoli raise their demands for Osimhen. Well, a very good evening to you. Welcome along to Deadline Day. There are just under 2 hours to go now until the 11 p.m. summer transfer window deadline in England. And as the likes of Chelsea and Arsenal scramble to sign some big-name players, we've got some big-name guests here in the studio. Yes, we have. Clinton Morrison is with us. Michael Dawson is here. Sue Smith is here. And David Prutton makes up the quartet.
Yeah, it's all relative, isn't it? It's heating up very nicely. Also coming up for you, though, Napoli complete the signing of Manchester United midfielder Scott McTominay. Trevor Chalobah's short-term future is now clearer. We'll tell you which Premier League club he's moving to. And James Ward-Prowse completes his medical at Nottingham Forest. He's ready to move on loan from West Ham. Goodness me, it is extremely busy. Let's get straight to it then, because let's get to Arsenal. There's some breaking news. We can head over to the Emirates Stadium now and join Gary Cottrell, who's been there for us all day long. So, Gary, what is the very latest you've got for us in the dark there?
Yeah, darkness has fallen here at the Emirates Stadium. We've been waiting all day to bring you this news, and now we can. It's about Arsenal's new goalkeeper, the man coming in to be number 2 to David Raya, the man coming in to replace Aaron Ramsdale. We saw Neto arriving from Bournemouth at the Arsenal training ground at 9:30 this morning. He's spent all day in the training ground. He's done his medical, he's passed his medical, he's done the paperwork. The deal has agreed a 1-year loan. Neto into Arsenal. That deal confirmed. But are Arsenal saving the most exciting? Are Arsenal saving the best until last? Because the clubs are in discussions, talks going well about bringing Raheem Sterling, potentially on loan, to Chelsea. Discuss.
Yeah, we certainly will at length. Thank you very much, Gary. Let's head to Chelsea now. And our chief reporter, Kaveh Solokor, who has got the very latest on Raheem Sterling's future, because it's been happening all day. Will he make a move from Chelsea? So, Kaveh, what's the very latest you've got for us?
Well, the situation is this. Raheem Sterling is hopeful that a deal can be agreed for him to join Arsenal at this very, very late hour. Now, I'm being told the talks are advancing, and if a deal is done, it's likely to be a loan deal. Now, I think Sterling himself would have preferred to leave Chelsea on a permanent move, but I think the prospect of working with Mikel Arteta again and also playing for Arsenal, who are in the Champions League as well, I think the prospect is so enticing and attractive that I think he would be willing to accept a loan move to Arsenal. I'm being told that the player himself is waiting for the green light to join Arsenal. Now, look, I don't think Raheem Sterling is being disrespectful at all by saying, not by saying, but by considering a move to Arsenal. I know Arsenal are great rivals of Chelsea, but you have to put things in perspective. This is not Raheem Sterling's decision to leave Chelsea if he leaves Chelsea. He was told 2 weeks ago by the head coach, Enzo Maresca, took him to one side after training and said, Raheem, you're not going to be in my squad this season. If you want to play, I suggest you go and find another club, and Chelsea are going to help you to find another club. That's what Chelsea have done over the past couple of weeks. They've been talking to interested clubs, and now they have got a deal that I think Raheem Sterling is very, very interested in. So I don't think we should be too hard on him. He's been put in a position where if he wants to play football, he has to move. And I would reiterate, my sense is that this has not got anything to do with money. I know a lot has been made about the fact that he's probably now the highest earning player at Chelsea. That's not his fault. That was a contract that he was given by the Chelsea owners 2 years ago. There's still 3 years left on that contract. He doesn't want to leave for money. If he was going to leave for money, he would go to Saudi Arabia. He totally ruled that out. He wants to move for sporting reasons. And if the move to Arsenal happens, then great. He's going to be at a club who are challenging for the title and are in the Champions League. If it doesn't happen, he's just going to keep his head down and train hard and give 100% for Chelsea when he wears the Chelsea shirt, if he wears the Chelsea shirt again, even though it's pretty likely that if he stays, he'd be training with the under-23s.
Yeah, just a quick further word on the situation with Arsenal, because we heard, didn't we, from Mikel Arteta last week, and actually I think I was reading into it perhaps more than most, but we heard from Mikel Arteta saying that he's an exceptional player. He's got this strong relationship with Raheem Sterling. So should we be surprised by this at all, that he could end up there on loan?
I don't think we should be surprised. It's something that's been talked about as a possibility for a few days. We've been reporting it as well. I think this morning we were saying that Raheem Sterling would either stay at Chelsea or move to Arsenal. I think from a sporting perspective, you have to say it makes sense for Raheem Sterling. He still feels he's got a lot to offer the game. He's 29. OK, he's had a little bit of a difficult few months. He lost his place in the England squad as well. He just wants to get back to playing football, and he wants to get back in the England squad as well. That's his ultimate ambition. I think also moving to Arsenal makes sense for his family, because his family are now settled in London. So moving from Chelsea, their training base at Cobham, up and around the M25 to Arsenal's training ground, that isn't really a long move. He could stay at home. So I think it makes sense from that perspective as well. And don't forget, quite a lot of players have actually moved from Chelsea to Arsenal. Players like Jorginho, Havertz, David Luiz, Petr Cech. A lot of these Chelsea players seem to like living in Surrey and then getting in their Range Rovers or whatever it is they're driving these days and tootling along the M25 and playing for Arsenal and training at their magnificent training ground just off Junction 22, I think it is.
Good knowledge. On the M25, you certainly do tootle along that one. Look, in terms of Jadon Sancho, is he coming to Chelsea? What's the latest on that situation?
Well, look, the latest is I've been trying to get as much information as I can. I actually had to call someone and interrupt them while they were having their dinner. But luckily, they took the call and they gave me a little bit of information. I sort of fired some names at them. I said, Jadon Sancho, what's happening with him? They said to me, Chelsea have made an offer to Manchester United, loan plus an option, and also an offer of loan plus an obligation. It's now up to the player and up to Manchester United to decide if he wants to move to Chelsea. I think I was reading somewhere that actually Jadon Sancho grew up being a Chelsea supporter, so maybe that is a reason why he wants to move to Stamford Bridge. But I think the main one is that effectively his relationship with Erik ten Hag hasn't been great. Everybody knows what's been happening, although there seems to have been a bit of a thaw in relations between the two of them. I think he accepts that for his career to kick on, he needs to move to Manchester United. And Chelsea have definitely made this offer, and the offer is on the table, and they're waiting to hear back from United and also the player himself.
OK, just finally and just very briefly, where does this leave Victor Osimhen? What's the situation there?
Look, I'm thinking now, what? How long is there left? What, is it a couple of hours until the deadline? I was told, look, time is running out, but Chelsea are refusing to rule out Victor Osimhen coming to Stamford Bridge. As time ticks by, I think it becomes less and less likely, but I was told that Chelsea have made this offer. The sticking point was not just the player's wages, but it was all to do with incentives, bonuses in his contract. But if the player wants to come to Chelsea, then the offer is there, although he's not going to get anywhere near what he would get in Saudi Arabia. Al Ali, £650,000 a week on the table, tax-free. Chelsea are not going to go anywhere near that. Once I've finished talking to you, I'm going to try and get back on the phone to the person I was speaking to. Hopefully their dinner is over. Maybe they're having a little coffee, finish their desserts. Maybe they will tell me a little bit more. But I will get back to you as soon as I've spoken to them.
Looking forward to it already. Thank you very much, Kaveh Solokol. This lot have finished their coffees and desserts as well. I think, Jules, they want to talk as well.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, they are absolutely chomping at the bit to talk to you. And three big names that were mentioned there by Cara that we'll be keeping a very close eye on as the evening progresses. Let's start with Raheem Sterling. I'll start with you, Clinton. Maresca made it pretty clear, as we heard from Cara, that he wasn't in his plans. Is Arsenal a good move for Sterling?
Before I do that, Jules, I need to show you something, mate. Dorst, you need to show something. Look at that.
Oh, wow.
Merce, if you're watching, Merce, if you're watching, honestly.
That is, in this day and age, that's probably 90 million. So you...
How am I cheaper than you?
My word. Goal scoring sensation. Anyway.
Well, actually, no, just hold this up again. Hold them up again. That's an improvement, isn't it? Get more sense out of them as well tonight.
That kit was a bit baggy back then, but
Back
still
to
fits,
my
as Pratt says.
you now. Original question. £4.25 million Clinton Morrison. Is this a good move for Raheem Sterling, who's gone for a lot more than that in his career?
Yeah, definitely. I think it's a good move for Raheem Sterling, and it could be a good move for Arsenal as well. He's got the experience. Look at the clubs that Raheem Sterling's played for. So for me, it's a good bit of business if they can get over the line. Listen, he's going to have to bide his time to get into that starting team because they got Martinelli, the likes of Trossard, who came on the weekend, scored a good goal against Villa, that can't get in. But if they're not going to get a number 9, which I don't think Arsenal need, because Havertz is doing a brilliant job, I think Sterling's a really good signing.
How much do you think he can actually play, Michael?
Well, you look on the side, Martinelli, Trossard coming in, Saka on the right. I think he can do a job either side there coming in. The Champions League football, all the cup competitions, they have an awful lot of games. And I think it'll be an absolute brilliant signing for Arsenal. I really do. I don't like the way he's been at Chelsea, but this is football. It happens. There's no loyalty in the game from both parties. When a player wants to leave, he leaves. When an owner wants a player out, they pay the money and they go. And Raheem Sterling has done right to sort of dig his heels, go in, train hard, and then an opportunity might come along. And if this does happen for Arsenal, I think it's a really good signing. I really do. If it does happen.
So I wonder which of the current Arsenal attackers will be most concerned about seeing Raheem Sterling coming through the door just to add more competition for places.
Yeah, and I think that's what Mikel Arteta probably wants, those competition for places. I think it's a good move. I think it works. It certainly works for him. I think it works for Arsenal. The fact that he's based in London anyway, so he doesn't really need to move his family, which I think, is certainly key. And the fact he's got a good relationship with Mikel Arteta. Mikel Arteta spoke about that and spoke about how he worked with him. So that also helps as a player. If you're a player that's maybe a little bit low in confidence, you've not been playing, you've just been told that you're not in the team when you think you are, because all the way through pre-season you've been there and you think that Chelsea's going to be your club. Suddenly that doesn't happen. Then you need that relationship with the manager, so I think they'll probably get the best out of him. And we all know that Sterling, on his day, can be electric. So the competition for places, yes, they've got players in those positions, but the fact that he can play right across the front line, he can play in the 10 if you want, he can play in the 9, so it just gives Mikel Arteta different options.
Yeah, and the good thing is you're not just looking at that particular player that comes in, it's what that player does to everyone else, whether he facilitates better performances from the other players, whether he gives them a bit of a kick up the backside, to be brutally honest. And what we spoke about, what we saw so much last season about Arsenal not getting to where they believe they should have gone, of course it's tough because they were getting hunted down and led along by Manchester City. Someone like this who's done it, who's managed to win things like this, part of that existing group of players already, it can affect the chemistry in such a positive way. I'd like to think as well, no matter what he's won, no matter how much money he's got, he's still a young player that can have several years left at the very top level. That's his motivation.
Well, he still must be hungry to go and play football.
Completely.
Because he could quite easily, for 3 years, if he doesn't love playing football, just sits there and go on, keep paying me, no problem. I'll sit in the reserve dressing room, no problem. I'll turn up, I'll get my money, I'll go home to my family. Yeah. But you've got to remember, these footballers love playing football. We all did it. It's the best job you'll ever do. Yeah. So for him to take all the money home, he's got that. You never get your years back of playing football, and if he gets this opportunity to go to Arsenal, imagine he's played for Liverpool, Man City, Chelsea, Arsenal.
England.
In England, the experience that he can give in that.
I love the fact as well we talk about how close it is. I presume his relocation fee is still pretty minimal. Standardised across. I mean, he won't be able to fork out for the movers, will he?
Too funny. No.
And of course, you've now got a situation where he's reunited with Mikel Arteta, and who are they trying to topple? Manchester City, decide where the two of them first work together. It's intriguing, isn't it? Thank you for now, guys.
OK, a little bit of breaking news regarding a former Chelsea Academy player, and that's Tammy Abraham, of course, at AC Milan. Have signed him from AS Roma on a loan deal. He signed a contract with the club until June the 30th, 2025, and he's going to wear the number 90 shirt. So that's Tammy Abraham on the move again to AC Milan. Right, let's get to Adama Sheth, because he joins me now to talk more about Arsenal, because obviously lots of players still moving about in this window. So what's the latest on Reece Nelson? Is he going anywhere?
It certainly looks that way. In the last hour, we told you that 4 clubs were interested in signing Reece Nelson on loan. 4 clubs were in talks with Arsenal over signing Reece Nelson on loan. The growing feeling now is that Ipswich have emerged from the pack, and they are in advanced talks now with Arsenal over a loan signing for Reece Nelson. Time is of the essence, though. There's less than 2 hours to go to get this deal done. But there is a confidence and a cautious optimism, let's put it that way, that Ipswich can get this deal over the line. And it will continue what's been a really ambitious summer transfer window for Ipswich so far. They're trying to go for it in this Premier League, and they're bringing in players, A, for the short term, so that they can have a real go at staying up in the Premier League. And if it isn't to work out for them, goodness me, they'll have a fantastic squad to bounce straight back up if it doesn't happen. But look, 36 games to go. Reece Nelson could be on his way to Portman Road.
Yeah, and just a word on Amanya Broja. Is that one kind of feels like that one's as a result?
I mean, that was on, then it was off because there was an issue with the medical. They resumed talks, but then they said they weren't expected to sign him. Today, reopening of talks between the 2 clubs to see if they could find an initial loan and renegotiate on the obligation fee, which was initially a club record £30 million. But because of the issues with the medical, Ipswich wanted to renegotiate for a much lower cost. As it stands, it doesn't look like the Broja one is going to happen. So it's gone on, off, on, off, on, off.
I'm glad you can keep up with it. All right, look, don't forget, there's also a host of live sport for you tonight as well. As we speak, the FedEx Cup is live. That's on Sky Sports Golf. We've got the US Open over on Sky Sports Tennis as well. Luton up against QPR in the Championship on Sky Sports Football. And last but not least, as you see here, the league leaders Hull KR host Salford in the Super League, and that's live on Sky Sports Action. So loads of live sport for you. But what about here, though? Up next, the latest on Ivan Toney's situation. He's completed his Al Ahly medical. So, is he off to Saudi Arabia? That's right, since Carlos Forbes has arrived at Wolves training ground, but can they get this deal over the line? Just a reminder of the breaking news in the last hour or so. Raheem Sterling, loan deal talks ongoing with Arsenal, and they are now advancing. Yeah, and this was very interesting, wasn't it? Here's what Mikel Arteta said about Sterling last week.
I can talk with my time with Raheem. That was exceptional. I think we built a really strong relationship together. He was unbelievable at the time that we were together, and he taught me a lot as well about the individuals, how the players think, how we give them support and help them, and he's someone that I really have strong feelings about.
It was interesting stuff, and that was only a week ago. Right, plenty more on that Sterling story to come, but our cameras have caught Ivan Toney out and about today. Let's go live to Paul Gilmore, who is in Brentford for us, which is practically just down the road from us. And he is live there for us, also in the dark, but not in the dark about Ivan Toney. What more can you tell us?
Well, Vicky, Ivan Toney has completed his medical in London today ahead of a £40 million move to Al Ahly in Saudi Arabia. There have been no problems with that medical. So the 28-year-old England international, someone at the very peak of his powers and a scorer of many goals, and somebody who's guaranteed goals, isn't he, over a season in this competitive division, is looking like he's off to Saudi Arabia. So, as I mentioned, a £40 million fee. He has been there today. He wasn't even here at the training ground today. He has spent the day in London doing that medical. Other aspects of this, you think of his former club, Peterborough. They will be looking on at this deal with interest because they will get a certain percentage of the profit. So too Newcastle United for in terms of developing him and the clubs he's played at in his career, that they too will benefit from this. It's also my understanding that there has been no kind of last-minute dramatic interest from any Premier League club tonight in terms of trying to just make a serious attempt to try and sign Ivan Toney before he completed this Saudi Arabia move. So it's a significant deal. It's a very makes him a very wealthy footballer in terms of what he will be on wages-wise, upwards of £350,000 a week to go and play in Saudi Arabia. But it is this evening, Ivan Toney is on the verge of that £40 million move to Al Ahly.
Yes, fascinating. You mentioned the fact that no other Premier League club has come in for Ivan Toney, which may cause a few eyebrows to be raised at that. But in terms of the money being spent by Brentford, are they already spending it then? Is somebody coming in at Brentford?
They have made a signing today. It's a young player, Jayden Makoma. He has represented England up to under 18 level, but it's not a youth signing, if you like. This is somebody who's coming in to be a part of their first team squad, and Thomas Frank had high praise indeed for him, saying he's one of the biggest left back talents this country has. So Thomas Frank clearly delighted to get this signing made today. We spent some time with him, we spoke to him. You can see that interview on the Sky Sports platforms, and we saw him kind of going through the usual, getting the photographs taken and all of those things that come with signing at a new club. So he's joined from Southampton, a 4-year contract with the option to add another 2 onto that. So Thomas Frank clearly delighted, and he will provide cover for Rico Henry, and they feel that somebody who has a bright future in and around their first team.
OK, thank you very much, Paul.
Right then, let's discuss Ivan Toney as we await news of his departure, it seems, from English football. I'll start with you this time, David. Quite a few people sort of looking down their nose at this decision, it seems, from Toney to sort of turn his back on the Premier League and head for Saudi Arabia at this stage of his career. What do you think?
Footballing-wise, totally agree. He'll earn the type of money, though, without sounding too cynical, that will set him and generations of his family up for quite a long time. That's me talking as an older ex-pro of advanced age. But the footballing side of it, it's miles away from what the Premier League is, and we've seen players go out there. I was listening to a discussion earlier on today about players that played in the recent Euros that have got experience and are out in Saudi. Different age bracket of player, different profile of player. I think we're talking about like Kante, Ronaldo, etc. I think it's a shame for English football if he goes there, but as I said, the cynic in me says it's something that will categorically transform his life and many lives to come, but also as well his journey to where he's got to. He's had to fight, he's had to scrabble, he's had to get his way through different barriers and through different challenges. And wherever he ends up, you wish him all the best. But footballing, can't understand it at all, financially, completely.
So he's set to leave English football behind. Does he also leave his chances of playing for England behind when he moves to Saudi Arabia?
I think he would have had to consider that, knowing that by going there, the standard of football is not going to be as strong or as competitive as the Premier League. So the opportunity maybe to stay within that England squad will have gone down. So I completely agree with what Prutz has said there. It's from a financial perspective, yes, of course, it would be so difficult to turn that sort of money down. But then I suppose when you look at his age, 28, 29, could have potentially, you know, we don't know what offers were on the table, if there were offers in the Premier League clubs, because he's always spoke about wanting to go to a top-end club. He wants to challenge for trophies. So that's a shame that he's not going to be able to do that. But we know he's a top-quality striker with lots of key attributes. I think from a Brentford perspective, they've probably looked at it and gone, well, he's got a year left on his contract. We don't want him to go on a free. They've got cover. They've showed that they've got cover as long as everybody stays fit and available. I know they brought in Igor Thiago, who he's got injured. They obviously brought him in as a replacement. So whether that put a little bit of a spanner in the works, but yeah, it's from a financial perspective, of course, it's going to set him and his family up for a long, long time.
And he's had that medical today, so that is one of the moves we are watching this evening.
OK, let's get to Wolves, because they're hoping to do a few more deals before the deadline, and they're running out of time, you'd have to say, because they've only got 1 hour and 32 minutes to do it. Daniel Kahn can bring us right up to date with players leaving and players coming in. What's happening there, Dan?
Yeah, absolutely. And good evening, Vicky. I mean, it looks like potentially 3 players in, 3 players out on deadline day for Wolves. And just a short time ago, we saw Carlos Forbes, winger from Ajax, just arrive here at Compton. We can bring you those pictures exclusively now. And he got to meet the sporting director, Matt Hobbs. He just travelled today, just a few hours ago, from Amsterdam. He joins the club on a season-long loan. We're expecting that announcement for later this evening. There's an option to buy as well, 11.3 million. And as you mentioned, there's only an hour, just over an hour until the deadline. But I think the club are very calm about getting that deal complete. We brought you the news this morning that Sam Johnston completed his deal from Crystal Palace, £10 million from Palace. Also, Andre, the Brazilian midfielder from Fluminense, he's been undergoing his medical this afternoon. Again, expecting that deal to be done well in time for the deadline. In terms of departures, just run through them very quickly. Daniel Podence, he's on his way out to Saudi, going to Al Shabab in a deal worth £5 million. Also, Fabio Silva, Chiquinho, they're going to Spain on season-long loans. No obligations or options to buy, but just worth noting, although we are getting down to that deadline, Vicky, the club are still working on a potential addition as centre-back. They're really trying. Gary O'Neill told me this afternoon, the sports recruitment team with Matt Hobbs leading them will be trying until the very last minute to get that last addition. We'll wait and see.
Yeah, we certainly will indeed. Daniel, thank you so much. Right, we will focus on Manchester United next, though. Scott McTominay, of course, left to a hero's welcome there in Naples. But have they already lined up a replacement for him? Stay with us for that next. Right, Dharma Chef has just joined me on set because, Dharms, I do believe you've got some breaking news from Manchester United. What can you tell us?
Breathe, Manchester United fans, because there was this huge delay, what felt like a huge delay. When is the signing of Manuel Ugarte going to be announced? It's announced. Okay. Manuel Ugarte is a Manchester United player. He's joined from PSG. A reminder of the deal, it's a €50 million initial fee, plus €10 million in performance-related add-ons. He's a player we've been talking about throughout the whole of this summer transfer window. He was Manchester United's primary target. They couldn't agree a fee with PSG right at the start of the window. That's because PSG wanted around €60 million fixed fee for Manuel Ugarte. Manchester United wanted to negotiate. They were looking at other players as well, even Sofian Amrabat, who was on loan with them last season. Yusuf Fofana was a man that was mentioned. Sander Berge, who ended up going to Fulham. But he was the constant. Manuel Ugarte was the one that they wanted. And finally, the Uruguay international has joined Manchester United. He hasn't joined in time, unfortunately,
to play against
Liverpool, because he needed to be registered by midday today. That didn't happen. But following the international break, Manuel Ugarte will be in that red shirt for Manchester United. Manuel Ugarte, a Manchester United player.
And you have to say, Dharms, that Manchester United have had a brilliant window, because you look at what they've already got on the books. That's another one in through the books.
I think they went into the transfer window with priority positions. They thought the full-back area needed strengthening. Nusa Mazraoui came in. He can play on both sides, in the right-back area and the left-back area. They knew that Rafael Varane was leaving, so they brought in Lenny Yoro, a young, up-and-coming centre-back. Real Madrid were strongly linked with trying to sign him, and United beat Real Madrid to his signing. And there was always talk about whether they were going to sign another central defender. And in the end, they did. They went in to Bayern Munich and signed Matthias de Ligt. They wanted to bring in a forward as well. Joshua Zirkzee has come in, and he started off so well for United. And now the midfielder who they've been chasing the entire transfer window in Manuel Ugarte from PSG has finally arrived at Old Trafford. Yeah, you'd have to say it's a great window. OK, look, speaking in the build-up to the game against Liverpool on Sunday, now Erik ten Hag was full of praise for this man Ugarte.
He has grinta, and he will bring that. And I think it's a very good fit to Manchester United, a very good fit to this team, because this team need that controlled aggression. He's a very brave player, so yeah, we would be really happy. It's not finished yet, but it's expected that we will complete this deal by the end of the day, and I'm sure he will really contribute to our success.
Now, Scott McTominay's move to Napoli has now been confirmed. Earlier, Ten Hag admitted he's got mixed feelings about seeing the midfielder leave this summer, though.
In the end, is everyone happy with it? But it's mixed. It feels sad to lose a player who has Man United in every vein. He lives, he breathes Manchester United, and then he's on the age, is the best age in his football career. And then you lose him. You could see he scored 29 goals overall, but in the last season he scored 10. So he's in a really good run. He was in a really good progress, and it feels sad to lose him. But on the other hand, it was necessary. It was necessary for the club, and also Scott wanted to have a new challenge.
Well, United also announced the signing of the 18-year-old Sekou Kone this evening. The Mali youth international has joined from Guidos FC in his homeland Kone. A midfielder will initially be supported by the academy, allowing him to settle into life in Manchester. And you have to say, Jules, Manchester United have had a really, really positive window.
Yeah, they certainly haven't they? I think all eyes were on them, weren't they, with Ineos. First summer of them since they invested in the club. What would they do? We'll talk generally about it shortly, Clinton, but let's just start with this breaking news. It's a name that United have been after for a while. They've got him, Manuel Ugarte. How much do they need to strengthen in that area, do you think?
Yeah, they need to strengthen in that area because they lost Scott McTominay, who did a good job, who knows the club inside out. He got a great move to Napoli. But this is a player, I don't know why it took that long, as Dharma said. I thought they would have got this deal done a few days ago, or if not earlier, so he could be involved against Liverpool. But he's a really good midfielder, combative midfielder, breaks up play and just gives it simple. He's not going to spray 40, 50-yard passes, but what he is, he's really effective in there. And they give the likes of Bruno and even young Kobe Mainoo to go and express themselves. But for me, it's a really positive signing. And Man United have had a good window, but I've seen a lot of him, and he's a top player.
I mean, how many times last season did we say it's just too easy to cut through that Manchester United midfield? Does he plug that gap?
Yeah, well, that's the reason that they've gone for him. Still only 23. Scott McTominay's gone out the door, who's been a great servant for Manchester United. I think you've got to remember that. And I think you go there, Clint, that was the reason why the deal never happened until that deal for Scott had gone, and then it was done because it's 50 million euros with add-ons. But we've always talked about the two midfielders with Manchester United. It's been too easy to get to the defenders, and then we criticise the defenders. But I think if you look at Mainoo in there, Casemiro's getting no younger. His legs have gone, so they need some energy in there. You've just touched on it, Clint. He's not going to be one of them players that's beautiful on the eye, start scoring goals, driving forward. What he's going to be, he's going to break things up. He's going to give the ball to Mainoo or Casemiro, whoever's playing in there alongside him. You would think he would go in because you just see the energy in Manchester United at the moment. I see the goal last week against Brighton. No one closes the ball down. Ball comes in the box. It's a goal on two occasions. So you need that energy in the middle of the park, and I think he'll certainly bring that.
So you've got Iwata coming in today. You've already had Joshua Zirkzee, Sue. You've had Lenny Yoro, who unfortunately got that early injury. Matthijs de Ligt, Nasser Mazraoui, Sekou Kone, as we heard, the young midfielder as well. They stood by the manager. They've backed him now, haven't they?
They've really backed him, and I think we were all speaking about, was the manager actually going to be there? It showed that, yes, he's there, and not only is he there, the club have certainly backed him and brought in the players that he clearly wants to add. I completely agree with Iwata. I think it's a position that they needed to strengthen, because so many times last season did we say teams were just going straight through the middle of that midfield. So he's certainly going to shore up that midfield area. I think when you look from a defensive perspective, I think bringing in Mazraoui can play both sides is key. De Ligt to cover. So they've brought in players where they needed to strengthen in those positions. So I think, yes, they've backed him, and you just think if Manchester United can keep everybody fit and available, they've got those competition for places, will they start to build?
Well, we'll see if they can begin that building process in the small matter of the Liverpool game this weekend. Super Sunday should be an absolute cracker, and of course before that, Super Sunday Match Day is here at 10 a.m. There's a new interview with Erik ten Hag. Darren Lewis will be in the studio. The Times football reporter Charlotte Duncan will be here. And she's waving at me. You can't see her. Yes, Vicky will be with you as well.
Yes.
And then the big game itself, live from Old Trafford. That is Super Sunday. United hosting their big rivals, Liverpool. Coverage from 3:30, Sky Sports Premier League.
It is always a Super Sunday. Right, Scott McTominay has completed his move to Napoli, but could his Scotland teammate be about to join him? Filippo Benincampi is in Milan and ready to speak to us. Good to see you, Filippo. I don't know where to start, actually, because I think you've got some breaking news on Victor Osimhen. What can you tell us on that first, please?
Well, hi, Vicky, first and foremost. It's an awkward situation, the Osimhen one. We've been talking about Al Ahly and Chelsea, both interested in Osimhen. But at the moment, with time running out, Victor Osimhen is staying at Napoli, even though at the moment he is not in the project of Antonio Conte. So what can happen is that Osimhen staying in a team where he will not have any place. So difficult to explain, but at the moment this is the situation. Victor Osimhen staying at Napoli, but not playing any minutes as they brought Lukaku in, and Osimhen stays out of project in the Conte side.
Goodness me. So just to confirm, he's just going to stay put for the moment, even though potentially he won't be playing any football for Antonio Conte.
Apparently, yes. We got the chance to speak with Antonio Conte and understand more about Osimhen. He didn't know anything about the possibility that the deal could collapse, but apparently this is happening. And when asked, what are you going to do with Osimhen? He said, I don't know. He has never trained a fully session with us, so don't know what to do. And we had different plans. We brought Lukaku in. He's going to be the main striker. So yeah, the striker who won the league for Napoli 2 years ago after 30 years of wait, possibly staying at Napoli without playing, without a role in this team.
Goodness me, that is quite the story, isn't it? Look, I did ask you about Billy Gilmour, so I suppose I ought to still stick with that question as well. Filippo, what can you tell us about him?
Well, he has finally put pen to paper, so we can say Billy Gilmour is now a Napoli player, and he will join his Scottish teammate Scott McTominay, that, as you probably already seen, has been welcomed fantastically well by Napoli fans. A fantastic reception with thousands of Napoli fans at the airport, because they wanted to make him feel already part of this new adventure, new life. And Napoli is a city full of passion, and we are probably sure that he's going to enjoy his time. And Napoli, big change for McTominay as he grew up at Manchester United, and hopefully Billy Gilmour will get the same reception. But now it's not official yet, so it's not officially done yet. But yeah, he's put pen to paper, so this is definitely going to happen. Billy Gilmour to Napoli. There we
Okay,
land.
brilliant. Not quite confirmed yet, but the pen is on the paper, but the ink's not quite dry. Thank you so much, Filippo, for joining us this evening. OK, I just want to reconfirm, though, that news that we heard there. Antonio Conte saying that he doesn't know what he's going to do with Victor Osimhen. I mean, it's an outstanding comment from Antonio Conte tonight. So what he does with Victor Osimhen is anyone's guess, because, of course, Lukaku is now in the door. So it remains to be seen what Victor Osimhen will do with those words this evening. Do stay with us, because it's hugely busy tonight. Up next, and with the Old Firm just around the corner as well, live on Sky Sports this weekend, Celtic and Rangers have also been busy today. Find out what they've been up to next.
Rangers to facilitate that move, and the one they hope to do as well tonight. Have already moved a few players on this week. A couple today. Scott Wright went in the first part of transfer deadline day, and in the last couple of hours we've seen Todd Cantwell complete a permanent switch to Blackburn Rovers. That a move that has soured over the course of the last few months. Such a popular figure initially, Cantwell, but it didn't quite work out in the end, and it seems common sense all round that he's got a permanent deal out of the club. So yeah, Rangers have been busy to a point so far today. They look to get one more done before the window shuts.
OK, thank you very much, Mark, for bringing us up to date with Rangers. What about Celtic then? They've got one through the door and they're waiting to finalise others. Luke Shanley is waiting to talk to us at Celtic Park. So what can you tell us there, please, Luke?
Well, they've got one through the door, and I can see the car that's just arrived for Arne Engels to sign for Celtic, just arriving just now. So Celtic will break their transfer record with signing him from Augsburg. Brendan Rodgers didn't want to be too drawn on him earlier today, but did say they want to sign the right players, and he'll be encouraged. That is a real sign of intent. Celtic breaking their transfer record. We understand it will be round about £11 million. Of course, it will get confirmed shortly. They've already signed Aaron Trusty and Austin Trusty from Sheffield United, a 5-year deal and a deal worth over £6 million. They wanted to strengthen that central defensive area, the American international. Of course, he'll be alongside his fellow American international in Cameron Carter-Vickers. So again, that's encouraging for Celtic to get another one through the door. So Celtic certainly making moves late on in this transfer deadline day. So Arne Engels is in the building, and remember, Celtic have already got a record fee for Matt O'Reilly, a Scottish record fee. They're spending some of that money, a real sign of intent. So he is arriving now at Celtic Park. That deal will get done imminently. And just finally, in terms of Luke McCowan, so much speculation about him, the Dundee player. Hibs have had multiple bids put in for the player, and I understand that Celtic now moving closer to trying to get Luke McCowan here to Celtic Park 2 on this deadline day. So you'll have to stay tuned for all the latest on that.
And we will indeed stay tuned to you. Thank you very much, Luke.
Deals happening all the time in the EFL. Lots to get through in the next minute or so. Watford have made their second deadline day signing. After Daniel Jebbison earlier, they've now confirmed former Derby wing-back Festi Obaselli has signed on a season-long loan from Udinese. Stoke have strengthened their front line with the signing of striker Tom Cannon, who's moved from Leicester on loan for the season. Also in the last few moments, Wayne Rooney has a deadline day signing at Plymouth. Rami Al-Haj has signed on a permanent deal from the Danish side Odense. Now, it's understood the fee is in the region of £800,000. And also tonight, a twist in the future of Mason Holgate at Everton. Sheffield Wednesday had been in for him earlier today. Now West Brom are trying to do a late loan deal. Holgate, you'll remember, spent time there in 2019.
OK, Southampton, they've been pretty busy, haven't they, during this window? We've got some breaking news of another arrival. Mark McAdam told me yesterday that he was going to be there dealing with all the stories from both Southampton and Bournemouth. True to his word, he is right there now till the very end. So what have you got for us, Mark?
Yeah, very little happening at Bournemouth today, but Southampton have been rather busy, and we've been speaking about this in the last few hours, and it's been confirmed by the football club. Russell Martin has his second deadline day signing. The first, Aaron Ramsdale, the second, Ryan Fraser, and once again we've had an email drop into the inbox as an official club publication, and they confirm the news we've been talking about. Southampton Football Club is delighted to confirm Ryan Fraser will be returning on a 2-year contract. Fraser, who played a significant role in the team's promotion from the Championship during last season's loan deal from Newcastle, has moved back to St Mary's as a free agent on the final day of the summer transfer window, having agreed to terminate his Newcastle United contract. And Ryan Fraser has been speaking to the in-house media channels as well. He says, "I'm probably the happiest man in Southampton at the minute. It's been a long summer from the playoff final to now, but my number one goal was to get back here, and now that's happened, it's one of the proudest moments in my career. Probably second after winning the playoffs. So yeah, it's really nice to be here. That's the thoughts of Ryan Fraser, Southampton's new signing, confirmed in the last few moments, and all eyes now on Russell Martin's third and final deadline day deal. Maxwell Cornet, as soon as we get confirmation of that one, we'll bring it to you right here on Sky Sports News.
Of course you will. Thank you very much, Mark, as always.
Well, let's see what the former Southampton player David Prutton thinks of how his old club are doing, trying to make a real fight of it in the Premier League. They've already spent more than £100 million.
Yeah.
Aaron Ramsdale's come in, Ryan Fraser's back. As you heard there, they're trying to get Cornet over the line as well.
Yeah.
They're giving it a real good go, aren't they?
And they need to. I mean, Sue and I were talking a minute ago about what Ipswich are doing as well, because you've got to give yourself the biggest chance of staying there. And if it involves spending a lot of money, that can help sometimes. We've seen the Fulham example in years gone by where it didn't help and then they went the other way and didn't spend as much money, ended up in the same place, nice and stable now. That's what Southampton need to be after. The general feeling about the place is a really good one. Very, very pragmatic in the playoff final. Saw off Leeds very straightforwardly. And then their return back to the Premier League is where they need to find that consolidation. First port of call, outside of the bottom three come the end of the season. That would be absolute party time for them. That would be a wonderful success. But everything that sounds positive comes from the manager, Russell Martin, speaking to Aaron Ramsdale. Ramsdale's buzzing to be there. Ryan Fraser, buzzing to be there. Max Cornet, if he comes in, he'll no doubt be buzzing to be there because that's where the manager runs a football club.
David, thanks very much indeed. So much more from David, Sue, Michael and Clinton to come. We are just over an hour away from the transfer window closing in England and Scotland. Remember as well, this weekend on Sky Sports, what a weekend. So much cracking live sport, including the old firm Celtic Rangers. You'll see that Sky Sports football from 11:30 in the morning on Sunday. Stay with us, though, here on Deadline Day on Sky Sports News. Raheem Sterling, one of the big names who could well be on the move before the window closes. Jadon Sancho's future is still undecided going into the final hour of the summer window, but things are moving. It's Chelsea who are in for him, because that helped Raheem Sterling on his way to Arsenal. A loan is being discussed. Chelsea still want to sign a number 9, but is time running out for Victor Osimhen? We'll hear where things stand. And Ivan Toney's been looking for a move all summer. Now his Al Ali medical's complete, but is the Saudi move really going to happen? Welcome along. The clock doesn't lie. We are into the final throes now of this amazing summer window. Just under 1 hour to get things done. Arsenal, Chelsea and many, many more are still in the hunt. Our studio panel is here for the duration. Clinton Morrison, Michael Dawson, Sue Smith and David Prutton as well.
Yeah, sorry, we couldn't stretch to anyone else. So much to get through as the time runs out. We've got some big done deals as well, confirmed for you. Manchester United have landed the defensive midfielder they've craved all window. Man Utd joins on a deal worth an initial £42 million. Trevor Chalobah's short-term future is now clearer. We'll tell you which Premier League club he's moving to. And James Ward-Prowse has completed his medical at Nottingham Forest. He's ready to move on loan from West Ham. But there is so much to get through tonight. It's incredibly busy. Let's get to Chelsea then, because our chief reporter, Kaveh Solokol, has the latest on Jadon Sancho's future. He's been at Chelsea all day for us. So, Kaveh, time is running out, of course. That clock is ticking down now. Will Sancho move from Manchester United, do you feel?
Yes, I think he will. The deal is very close to being agreed now. It will be a loan deal plus an obligation for Chelsea to sign the player. Now, I know it's a little bit of a surprising deal for Chelsea fans because they'll be scratching their heads and thinking, do we really need Jadon Sancho? We've got so many wide players already. We've also signed Pedro Neto. We signed João Felix as well. What we really needed was an out-and-out number 9. Well, so far, they haven't got the number 9, but I think they're almost certainly now going to get Jadon Sancho. And the reason I think they've gone for Sancho is that it was too good a deal to turn down. There are people here at Chelsea who used to work with Jadon Sancho at Manchester City. They believe that, OK, yes, he's had problems at United, but they believe that with a fresh start, they can bring the best out of him. And don't forget that 3 years ago, Jadon Sancho was a player who I think moved from Germany to United for around £85 million. So Chelsea feel that it's a risk worth taking. They think that he can really get back to his best here at Stamford Bridge this season. But of course, he's going to have a fight on his hands to get into Chelsea starting 11 because they already have so many wide players.
Yeah, you make a good point. Look, let's turn our attentions to Victor Osimhen, because Sky Italy, we were just speaking to them a few moments ago, fascinating story coming out of there. They're saying that he's staying at Napoli, even though the manager doesn't really know what to do with him.
I mean, even though the manager insisted on signing Romelu Lukaku from Chelsea, a player they got just a couple of days ago. Yeah, extraordinary situation with Victor Osimhen. I hear what Sky in Italy are reporting, that the deal is off for him to come to Chelsea, that he's definitely staying at Napoli. Now, I'm not going to contradict what Sky Italy are reporting, but my information is slightly different. My information just from a few minutes ago on the phone. I was sitting in my car because it's getting a little bit cold up here. I was on the phone speaking to someone who knows what is going on, and they said to me, look, we are still waiting for a final decision about Victor Osimhen. I said, come on, you've got to be serious. There's what, an hour and 5 minutes to go until the deadline. How are you going to sign a player, one of the best strikers in the world, who's in Italy at the moment? How are you going to do the medical? How are you going to do the deal? This is certainly not going to happen. And I was told there's still a deadline, there's still time to go, we are still waiting for a decision. I think one of the things that was holding up Chelsea potentially signing him was not just the wages, because I think Chelsea were willing to really push the boat out, but they were willing to push the boat out when it came to incentives and bonuses. They weren't going to get anywhere near what Al Ahly were offering Osimhen, £650,000 a week, apparently, but they had put together a pretty attractive package. But I just don't think up until now Victor Osimhen has been tempted enough to accept that package. And of course now Al Ahly are signing Ivan Toney. We don't think they're going to sign Ivan Toney and Victor Osimhen. So unless something really, really dramatic and incredible happens in the next 58 minutes or so, it looks like Victor Osimhen is staying at Napoli. Although the person I was speaking to still thought that there was a chance, and he said he was waiting for a phone call from Osimhen.
Goodness me. So that story rumbles on a little bit. Thank you, as always, Kaveh. I'm delighted to say that Dharma Chef joins me now because, look, if that Osimhen deal doesn't work, can Al Ahly sign Toney and Osimhen, do you think?
It looks difficult, not only because of the fees, but also they haven't got 2 foreign spots available.
Yeah.
So they would have to rejig their squad, and they've only got 3 days to do it because the Saudi Pro League window shuts on Monday. So you've got a situation with Ivan Toney today. Once they'd agreed that deal with Victor Osimhen, Al Ahly, it broke that they'd agreed a deal with Brentford for £40 million for Ivan Toney. This one accelerated today as well. I think we can see pictures of Ivan Toney arriving for his medical. Here we go.
Yep. Which he passed. We heard
he walked in for his medical. We got shots of him when he left his medical as well. He completed it. He passed it. So the big question is, as you said before, can Toney and Osimhen both go to Al Ahly? As I mentioned before, it's very difficult. And I think Al Ahly were looking at this whole situation at the beginning of the day when overnight and this morning we heard that they'd agreed that deal for €80 million with Napoli and they were going to pay Osimhen €40 million per year on a 4-year contract. Once that had happened, we thought, right, that deal's going to get done because it was agreed. But then Al Ahly, I think, got very unhappy with Napoli because they changed the goalpost a little bit. They said, we want a little bit more on a transfer fee. Al Ahly said, thanks, but no thanks. This is the bid. This is what we're going to stick to. In the meantime, they were working on Ivan Toney. And I think the reason they did that, to get both of these deals agreed in principle, that's because earlier in the week and throughout this transfer window, we've been reporting that Victor Osimhen didn't want to go to Saudi Arabia as his first choice at this stage of his career. He felt he could have more performances, big performances, in one of European football's top 5 leagues. And his agent, Roberto Calenda, he came out on social media earlier on this week and he said there needs to be a bit of respect here. There needs to be a bit of balance. He is not a man who can just be shipped away to a faraway land so Napoli can sign whoever they want. This guy's 8th in the Ballon d'Or rankings. This guy can still offer a European club big performances. So while that was going on and all those quotes were coming out, it's little wonder Al Ahly were thinking, well, let's try and get Osimhen because we really want him. But he clearly wants to stay in European football, so let's try and get a deal done for Ivan Toney, which is all well and good, because now Al Ahly have this deal sorted and it's expected Toney is going to join. However, if now, with less than an hour to go in this transfer window, Chelsea cannot get this deal done for Victor Osimhen because they're still working on it, but it's not agreed yet. And if that can't happen, what happens to Victor Osimhen? Napoli don't want him. He's going to be training away from the first team squad on over £200,000 a week away from the first team reckoning under Antonio Conte.
Antonio Conte saying outright in a press conference, I don't know what to do with him.
Yeah. And Al Ahly are going to have a problem as well.
This is Victor Osimhen we're talking about, a brilliant player.
Might have a problem. And could Ivan Toney then have a problem? Because even though he's done his medical and he's passed it, that deal is not fully agreed yet. It's not been signed on the dotted line. We're expecting it to be. But if Victor Osimhen doesn't get the move to Chelsea and the Al Ahly move is still on the table, what are Al Ahly going to do? If they choose Victor Osimhen, after this window is closed, where does that leave this man? Ivan Toney will have to go back to Brentford, reintegrate himself into the first team, and then in the first team reckoning. And then Brentford lose out as well because he'll effectively leave for no money at all next summer.
Goodness me. Look, whilst you're standing there, Dharmesh, I think we're going to go straight back to Kaveh Solokol because Kaveh has got some breaking news for us. It's happening all the time. It's such a busy window. Kaveh, what can you tell us?
Yeah, I can tell you now that Raheem Sterling's move from Chelsea to Arsenal on loan is very, very close. Just in the last few seconds, I've been told that the players' representatives and his lawyers are also now involved in the talks, and that would suggest that a deal is really close. Of course, the background is Sterling was told 2 weeks ago he doesn't have a future at Chelsea. Chelsea have tried to find him another club. He wasn't interested in moving to Saudi Arabia. He wanted to stay in the Premier League, and Arsenal have come to try and get him. And he said, look, I would prefer a permanent move, but this is Arsenal. This is working with Mikel Arteta. This is going, with all due respect to Chelsea, to a club who are challenging for the title, who are in the Champions League. And remember, he didn't want to leave Chelsea. It's Chelsea who wanted him to leave. And my information now is that the deal is very close because his representatives and his lawyers are now negotiating his move away from Chelsea to Arsenal.
Goodness me, thank you very much, Carvey. I mean, Dharmesh, this story is developing all the time.
Yeah, so Carvey says it's very, very close, and everyone now is involved in talks. We've got 48 minutes left of this transfer window. I spoke earlier on this evening about deal sheets. I've just put in a text with Arsenal about whether the Raheem Sterling deal is a deal sheet. I'm just waiting for an answer, because have they done enough of the deal to give them even more time to be able to get this deal done? Because this started late in this evening. This started late. So there's every possibility that a deal sheet might be required to give them an extra 2 hours, as long as they've got the signatures of both clubs and Raheem Sterling between 9 o'clock and 11, and that's deposited with the Premier League. As long as that happens, they will have until 1 o'clock in the morning to get this deal over the line. And if Raheem Sterling is going to go until 1 o'clock in the morning, I'm sure the panel, Jules and everyone will be very, very happy to stay.
They are. We've booked them all till 3 a.m. So, yeah, they're going to be more than happy to talk about this at length. Look, just one more, if I can, on this, because you said, your very words were, this has come in late.
Yeah.
But there's part of me that says we should have all been seeing this, because we saw Mikel Arteta last week at his press conference, waxing lyrical, actually, about Raheem Sterling. So the clues were already there. And Mikel Arteta is quite flamboyant at times. He says he loves everyone, but he genuinely has this admiration and a really good relationship with Raheem Sterling. So should we have been surprised?
I'm not surprised that Raheem Sterling potentially should be going there. Are we surprised that it's happened this late? I'm not surprised either, simply because they might have wanted to get someone out of the squad to get Raheem Sterling in. And you've got a situation with Reiss Nelson now, who had 4 interested clubs. Fulham was one of them. Ipswich are now in advanced talks, and that is very, very close. The direction of travel with that one suggests that Reiss Nelson is going to join Ipswich on a season-long loan, and Raheem Sterling will come into Arsenal. That's why it's happened so late, because I think at the time, as much as Mikel Arteta would be thinking, yeah, I'm open to the idea of Raheem Sterling coming, for the squad, could he have fitted in? And with the budgets and the numbers, who knows what's going on behind the scenes at Arsenal in that case? So maybe they thought to themselves, let's maybe get Reiss Nelson, because his game time is limited even before Raheem Sterling arrives at the club. If Raheem Sterling was to come, it's going to be even further limited.
Yeah, who misses out in terms of that team, Jules?
I tell you what, Vicky, Dharmesh, it's a real buzz in here tonight, isn't it? You know, there are big deals that are happening in this final hour. Bit different to January. When we were here, it was very quiet. PSR.
It was so boring.
All
January.
the talk was about PSR, wasn't it?
January. Right. I'll be honest. January was boring. Today is.
Was Jules doing that one as well?
Yeah, I was.
No, I don't mean Jules. No, I don't mean Jules was boring. Jules is great. I mean the transfer window was boring. That's right. What I meant, Jules.
well, this Sterling situation is not at all boring, is it? David, let me come to you, because we heard that it's very close. It's loan to Arsenal. The prospect otherwise is that he's going to be training with the under-23s at Chelsea.
Which is just ridiculous.
So for his career, how important is it that this does get done?
Yeah, I mean, in the broader sense of what his career is, it's been magnificent so far anyway. If he stopped tomorrow, he would have had a very, very good career.
He's 28.
Exactly. But in the sense of what comes next, I think it's absolutely pivotal. If it doesn't go through and he's got several months waiting for January, I think it doesn't reflect well on either party, does it? It just looks like there's a stockpile of players. There's 40-odd players. Enzo Maresca's talked about who he wants to work with and how he wants to work with them. He's been very definitive. We spoke to him a lot last season with Leicester's title-winning campaign. Knew exactly his mind. Even when fingers were pointed about the way Leicester City played football, he said, sorry, I don't really care. We're top of the league. We're going to get promoted. All's fine. So there's a certain amount of needed stubbornness, I think. But this strikes at the fact that, from a financial point of view, there's an overarching business model. There's money that's been moved around the football club and needs to go out of the football club as well. So it's staggering in a way that a player of this ability is in this position at the 11th hour, quite literally the 11th hour. But as Dawes says earlier on, these things do happen. The professional part of being a footballer is you've got to take it a bit on the chin. The other side of it is Raheem Sterling doesn't become Raheem Sterling without having that bit of grit about him, without having that nasty side about him. This is just the other side of the coin. And if he sits it out, I mean, the figures that were reported, if they want to pay him up to get him out of the door, when you're talking about 60 to 70 million pounds, I mean, the agent's not walked in there with a gun to anyone said, has he? They've gone, yeah, we'll sign you, here you go. So they either honour it, or he sticks around, does what he wants, or moves on.
Yeah, I mean, he wants to play football, Michael. Jadon Sancho wants to play football. Yeah. Could be going to Chelsea on loan. Is that a good move for him?
It's a surprising move for me when I look at the players that are already at Chelsea in that wide area. I mean, Jadon Sancho's a good player. Let's not get away from that. You look where he was 12 months ago. He got a great loan move back to the club that arguably made him this superstar. And he went to Manchester United, and it just didn't work out for him. But to go to Chelsea, what makes it going to be any different for him there? You look at the players in the wide area, Mudryk, other side, Madueke. There's players that have come in and you're like, where's he going to play? I honestly think he needs to go somewhere that he's going to play, because he seems like that kind of player that he's no good if he's coming in and off the bench. I think any player's like that. You have to be playing week in, week out, and when you get your opportunity, you take it. I mean, at Chelsea, it's just going to be in and out like you don't believe. I mean, last week Madueke was the superstar. Could be someone else this week, because someone else might get a chance. I mean, Chelsea is an absolute crazy place for me. You're swapping Sancho and putting Sterling out. It blows my mind. But if he goes there, good luck to him, because he hasn't worked for him at Manchester United. He's not playing football.
He's got to work somewhere soon. That's basically it.
He worked at Dortmund, no, Prutz.
Yeah.
You look at him last year. Dortmund is a place where it seems like home, and that's where he's played his best football. The facts are there. He was playing in the Champions League not too long ago. That's incredible for him. So if this deal does go ahead, good luck to him, because he's still only 24 years of age. The clubs he's played for is unbelievable, but you have to play football. It always comes down to this, that we can talk about financial. The pockets are full. Wherever they go, they're going to be full. But you just got to go and enjoy it and express yourself. And I watched him last year for Dortmund. Not once when he played for Manchester United did I see him play with that confidence and flair and going past players and tricks. He was brilliant last year. And I hope he goes and does it at Chelsea, because you want to see good players, young players, go and do it.
OK, will Sancho be in the door at Stamford Bridge? Will Sterling be out of the door and heading to Arsenal? Time is running out to get both those deals done. We will find out soon enough.
Yeah, there is not long now to go, is there, Jules, until that 11 p.m. deadline. Let's stay with the theme of Manchester United, because they have completed the signing of Man Utd from PSG in a deal worth up to £50.5 million, and it was confirmed in the last hour. They've actually paid an initial fee of £42 million, but the deal could be boosted past £50 million with performance-related add-ons. Now, Arte was the club's primary midfield target throughout the window, and United are understood to be very happy with the deal that they've struck for the midfielder. So as his arrival was confirmed, the exit of Scott McTominay is also now official. This too, of course, was expected, but now he is a Napoli player after spending his entire career at Old Trafford to this point. His deal will eventually be worth more than £25 million with add-ons. And look at this. Marcus Rashford took to Insta to post a farewell to his long-time teammate. Alongside the image of the two as kids, Rashford post read this: "It's been a long journey. Good luck in Italy, my friend." He won't need luck. They absolutely loved him. They had that massive hero's welcome, just like me and Jules when we come to work every day. Don't forget, there's still some live sport for you to enjoy tonight as we speak. The FedEx Cup is live for you on Sky Sports Golf, and we've also got the US Open. That's over on Sky Sports Tennis, if you'd rather. But don't go there. Stay with us, as we'll bring you all the breaking transfer news. Can Arsenal get this loan move for Raheem Sterling over the line? We're going to be live to the Emirates for you next. Stay with us. from Chelsea to Arsenal is edging ever closer. Sources are telling us the player is pinning his hopes on the deal, and it will be a straight loan with no obligation to buy, so it is getting very real indeed. We can head to Arsenal now and over to the Emirates and join Gary Cottrell. Gary, this move is getting closer all the time, it feels. Dharmesh just telling us that the Arsenal lawyers working really hard to get this deal over the line.
Yes, and it seems that Raheem Sterling is probably at the fore of making this deal more and more likely to happen as we get so close now to the deadline, because Raheem Sterling will have had to, I'm sure, accept a cut in his pay. He's on over 300,000 at Chelsea. Arsenal will not pay anywhere near that, probably only 50% of that. So it's either a deal whereby Chelsea continue to pay some of his wages, or Raheem Sterling has accepted a reduction in wages, a bit like springs to mind Romelu Lukaku did when he went from Chelsea on loan to Roma. So it is Raheem Sterling, I think, who has in the end decided that he wants to go to Arsenal. I think there was a sign that it might happen about a week ago when at his news conference before the Aston Villa game, Mikel Arteta was asked whether or not there was any chance of Arsenal signing Raheem Sterling. First of all, he said straight and categorically no. But then he went on to talk about the relationship that the two of them had, how he thought that he'd helped Raheem Sterling become a better player when they were both at Manchester City, and how vice versa, Raheem Sterling had helped him become a better coach when they were at Manchester City. Great admiration there from Raheem Sterling to Mikel Arteta, and from Mikel Arteta to Raheem Sterling. And so there was a hint there that perhaps, if things could be worked out, if the difficult contractual and salary situation could be worked out, there was an outside chance of a deal being done between the two clubs and between manager and player. So Raheem Sterling wants to go to Chelsea. It suits him personally. His family is in London. He's a London boy. He wants to go there professionally as well, for professional reasons, because Chelsea are competing for the league, in the Champions League, the kind of club that he thinks he can prove himself again and get back into that England squad.
Yeah, absolutely. Arsenal could do that for him, couldn't they? In terms of a football point of view, they've done all they can, really, you'd have to say, in terms of trying to match Manchester City and perhaps get past them this season. Do you think this is a step in the right direction as well, to add Sterling to their fold?
Well, it's been a busy summer for Arsenal. It's not exactly been revolution, Vicky, but it's certainly been an evolution of the first team squad, because we know they've made three signings already, three permanent signings already. This would be the fourth, although it's only, of course, a loan. And by the end of tonight, by 11 o'clock, if the two deals that we're waiting to hear about in terms of outs, which is Reece Nelson and Eddie Nketiah, are confirmed, which we think they will be, that'll be 11 out. So you can see that the squad looks very different now to what it did at the beginning of the summer. And I think that is all the work of Edu. It is all the work of Mikel Arteta. And they weren't giving up earlier today when we did the news conference. Mikel Arteta was asked about Raheem Sterling, was asked about the Raheem Sterling kind of player coming in, or any kind of player coming in between now, as was then, and the end of the window. And he was actually giving quite a big hint that something might happen. He said there's still a few hours to go. We're prepared, i.e. him and Edu are prepared. Let's see. You can never rule anything out on deadline day, and that certainly proved to be the case.
Yeah, and Gary, of course, they've got the early kick-off, haven't they, tomorrow? They're up against Brighton. They are at home, though. But does that kind of show, really, what these clubs are doing right up until this window closes shut?
Yes, I think any fine margin, anything you can do to improve the scenario, to give you a chance of winning the league. They've come so close, haven't they, Arsenal? Every season since Mikel Arteta has taken charge, they've gathered more points. 5 points behind Manchester City 2 seasons ago, 2 points behind Manchester City last season. Will Raheem Sterling be that difference? Gives them, tips them over the edge, it gives them the advantage over Manchester City. Look, they're packed full of quality players, we know, at Arsenal, but they can also do with a little bit of help in that area of the pitch with an explosive attacker like Raheem Sterling, particularly to take some of the burden off the shoulders of Saka, who plays week in, week out. Raheem Sterling won't start week in, week out, but he'll always be there to try and give Saka a bit of a rest in that area. So that is a real reason, I think, why, in the end, Arsenal decided that they wanted Raheem Sterling. And if it does happen, and it looks like it's going to, I think it suits all parties. And I know the fans at Arsenal will be absolutely thrilled to see him. And I think the players will be as well, because the aforementioned Saka, as a training ground earlier today, we were getting ready to do a live. He pulled out of the training ground, wound down his window and said, "Who are we signing?" So he probably feels he needs a bit of help as well. Well, now it looks like he might have some.
Oh, brilliant stuff indeed. Thank you very much, Gary. I like that line from Saka there. Well, now you know, Bukayo Saka, because, of course, you're going to be watching, aren't you? Let's head back to Scotland now and to Celtic, because Luke Shanley is at Celtic Park for us. You've been there all day, Luke. You're on your phone, busy as ever, but you've got some breaking news, haven't you?
Yeah, Dundee have accepted a bid from Celtic for their captain, Luke McCowan, who was impressive last season, certainly, and is somebody that has been on their radar. Remember, Hibernian have had multiple bids put in for the player, not accepted, and now it looks as if he will be joining Celtic on deadline day. As I said, he has been impressive, certainly since he's moved into that central midfield area, and he would add to Celtic's squad. Remember, they've already signed Austin Trusty, and they are imminently about to announce that they've signed Arne Engels, who is in the building here at Celtic Park. So that is another one they are looking to sign on deadline day. Luke McCowan from Dundee.
Thank you very much indeed, Luke. Right, that window is slamming shut in half an hour, and breaking news all the time now. Wolves have just confirmed a new signing. Let's go straight there now. Dan Khan has got all the details. He too is on his phone. Daniel, you're in vision. What have you got for us?
Thank you. Thank you very much, Vicky. I mean, I think one bit of news all Wolves fans have been waiting to hear is the confirmation of the Brazilian midfielder Andre. He joins from Fluminense, the Brazilian midfielder. Wolves have actually just published a video on their social platforms. And that's what I was watching, Vicky, because it's a very good video, I have to say. It's him with his Brazilian compatriots who he joins here at Wolves. Mateus Cunha, Pedro Lima and João Gomes. All smiles. He's very happy. He completes a £21.8 million move to Wolves, and that is the second of 3 additions they're trying to bring to the club on deadline day. We still expect Carlos Forbes from Ajax, a 20-year-old winger, to get his medical done, complete, well in time for the deadline. We saw him just around an hour ago arrive here at Compton, so Wolves looking to finalise that deal. I think they're pretty calm about it, no worries about that. But I did tell you last time we spoke, Vicky, that they were trying to bring a centre-back before the deadline. I know and I understand that they've been really trying to push one over the line, but it's looking increasingly unlikely in terms of getting that final, perhaps, reinforcement for Gary O'Neill's squad. But we'll wait and see. There's still, 28 minutes left, Vicky, so who knows?
Who knows indeed. 28 minutes to go. Thank you very much, Dan.
Yeah, we're into the final half an hour. Lots more from our guests here next. We're going to discuss Arsenal in more details and what Sterling's arrival could mean for them. Not on to go until the window shuts. Do stay with us. What will the next 25 minutes have in store for Raheem Sterling? Is he going to Arsenal? Will he have to stay at Chelsea? Plenty more twists and turns. Could he yet be on the way? And we were hearing about the transfer business in Glasgow tonight. A reminder of the live sport this weekend includes the Old Firm game. Celtic take on Rangers. It's live on Sky Sports Football, 11:30 in the morning on Sunday. Yeah, it's one of the big deals. We are tracking Jadon Sancho, loan to Chelsea with an obligation to buy from Manchester United. There's another one that could well happen before the deadline. And, of course, Osimhen, Toney, and many, many more, still their futures to be decided over the next hour or so. Let's talk Arsenal with our guests, David, Sue, Michael and Clinton. And, you know, Raheem Sterling, Sue, Arsenal pushed City so close for the last couple of seasons. Could Sterling be the missing piece of the jigsaw?
Well, they'll be hoping so. I think he'll certainly bring his experience from playing at Manchester City, obviously his international experience, everything that he's got there. So he'll certainly add that competition for places. I think adding Calafiori was a brilliant addition. It's where they needed to strengthen in terms of he can play at left back, he can cover centre back as well. Marino, I know he's unfortunately got the injury, but again another good signing because they didn't do much wrong, did they, Arsenal, last season? It was one of those that Manchester City were just that little bit too strong. So they'll certainly be hoping that just that experience, that extra added little bit of quality might just take them over the line.
Yeah, well, what difference does it make when you get a Premier League title winner, an FA Cup winner, a Champions League finalist, Michael, walking into that change room, a change room that's got so close, tantalisingly close in the past?
Well, I think this is an absolute brilliant signing for Arsenal. He's won Premier Leagues, the experience he's got with England, the big clubs he's played at, and that's going to bring experience in and around that dressing room that, you know, there's not too many winners in there. He's been that, he's conquered it, and he's going there with the weight off his shoulders. I mean, I look at the games he played last year, it was over 30 Premier League games, and now all of a sudden he's surplus to requirements at Chelsea. It's quite astounding, really, for me, and I think if this happens, I think he can play either side of the wings. He can play as a number 9, if need be, and a number 10, I think it's a brilliant signing. I really, really do. I think it's a no-brainer. He's worked with Mikel Arteta at Manchester City before. He knows the Premier League. He knows what it's all about. And I'm glad he's getting the move, albeit to Arsenal. I just think the way he's being treated from Chelsea, I don't like any player.
That's catchy, that word, Tret, isn't it?
Tret.
Oh, we're making words up as well as giving opinions here.
Here we go. Yeah, anyway, it'd be a very good sign.
Yeah. I want to hear from David and Clinton on this, and we will. There's plenty of time, but I've got to get to Vicky. What's happening, Vicky?
Yeah, we're going to get straight to it because let's go back to our chief reporter, Carve Solokor. He's got some breaking news for us. What can you tell us? Who's at back, Carve?
Yes, it's about Victor Osimhen. I can tell you that Chelsea made Victor Osimhen their final offer this evening. And with 20 minutes to go until the deadline, they still have not heard back from his camp. So Chelsea are now resigned to the fact that the deal is off. Now, Victor Osimhen, of course, had this incredible offer from Al Ahly, apparently worth £650,000 a week. Chelsea's final offer was nowhere near that, but I think they pushed the boat out as far as they could. There are reports that Victor Osimhen was asking for something like £330,000 a week. I don't think Chelsea were going to pay him that. But right up until the deadline, Chelsea have been trying to sign Victor Osimhen. Final offer went in this evening. He still hasn't got back to them. The person I was speaking to actually was so busy that they put the phone down on me. Doesn't matter. I'm going to take that on the chin. I know it's a very, very busy night and they've got more important people to talk to than me. But they did tell me they're resigned now to the fact that the deal is off because time has run out. And Victor, I don't know where he is, but he hasn't called back.
Goodness me, who would dare put the phone down on Carve Solokor? Thank you very much, Carve. I wouldn't. Right, let's get to it, Dharmesh, because you join me again. West Ham, we said this before, they've had a remarkable window, haven't they? So what's happening with this player, Soler? Tell me about him.
Carlos Soler from PSG, the deal has been agreed. It's a season-long loan. The medical has been done. We're expecting a formal announcement on that one. We expect them to beat the deadline and they might not have needed the deal sheet. That was when I heard about 10 minutes ago that they wouldn't need the deal sheet. Let's see if they do need it because there'll still be bits and bobs to do on the contract, but as far as we're aware, this one is going to happen before the deadline.
James Ward-Prowse, very much a David Moyes signing. What's happening there?
This one is as good as done now, we're told. He's moving on a season-long loan to Nottingham Forest. He was having his medical. He's doing the formalities of that afterwards. We're expecting a formal announcement on that one very, very soon as well, so that one looks done.
Maxwell Cornet, is he also following James Ward-Prowse?
This is a slightly difficult one because Maxwell Cornet has gone down to Southampton for a medical. By all accounts, he's had his medical. but a deal sheet, we understand, has gone in for that deal. So they've done enough of the deal, but they've put in a deal sheet to give them enough time to try and get it over the line by 1 o'clock in the morning. Now, if you put a deal sheet in, yes, there's a degree of optimism you can get it over the line, but there's also the chance that maybe it might have come too late. So it's definitely one to watch up until 1 o'clock, when these guys will still be on set talking about Maxwell Cornet. That's the one they'll be waiting for.
OK, just finally then, what about Naya Fagard and Kurt Zouma? Where are we with those?
Naya Fagard, we thought he was going to stay at West Ham United as recently as this morning, but Real Sociedad came in. They've had advanced talks with West Ham United today. That looks like it's all agreed, and that will be a season-long loan. Kurt Zouma, Al Aruba, from the Saudi Pro League. That one has been agreed. We expect that announcement to happen this weekend, though. There's no timing on it for today because the Saudi Pro League window shuts on Monday.
Yes.
And he's only got 1 year left on his contract, but he's actually moving there on loan. And the reason for that is that West Ham will pay a portion of his vast wages, and then after the 1 year season loan is over, Kurt Zouma will be a free agent.
All right, brilliant from you. Thank you, Dance. I think we're going to Dave Reed.
Yes, breaking news from the Championship now, and a new man in at Leeds United, from where we can join Tim Thornton. Tim.
Yeah, Leeds United have completed their second signing of transfer deadline day, and he's here with us now. Isaac Smith has signed from the Swiss Super League side St Gallen. Congratulations on the move. How excited are you to get started here at Leeds United?
Oh, I'm really excited. It was my dream to come to England, especially in a club like Leeds. So I'm really happy to be here, and I'm just waiting to achieve great things here.
Talk to us about the last 24 hours or so for you, because it must have been a little bit of a whirlwind, because you were on the field playing and scoring last night.
Yeah, it was really tough, really tough. We had an important game for my whole team, and I thought it was important to achieve and make this game for the team, like one of the most important game of the last 20 years. So yeah, it was important and we did it, so I'm happy for them, and now today I'm in Leeds.
You joined a Championship club. Is the ambition, the aim for you to take Leeds and play in the Premier League?
Of course it is. Of course it is. I know the ambition of the club. I know that they almost did it last year. So to come and help the team to try to go to the Premier League next year is one of my goals. And I like those goals.
What can Leeds fans expect from you?
Oh, they can expect that I will give everything, every time. I will give my best in training, in the games. I will be professional.
OK. We wish you well at Leeds United. Thanks for joining us on Sky Sports News. So there it is, Leeds United's 8th signing of this transfer window. He's looking forward to getting going here at Elland Road, and Leeds very pleased with the business they've done over the course of this window.
I spoke with James Savundra yesterday. He said he was going to be at Crystal Palace all day. Is this news, James Savundra, going to cheer up Clinton Morrison or not? What have you got for us?
I think Sir Morrison will be buzzing. I think Crystal Palace fans will be absolutely buzzing. You've waited so long for me to bring you this transfer news this evening. Second deal done of deadline day. Eddie Nketiah is a Crystal Palace player. You have your striker. He signed a 5-year contract at the Eagles. He joins on what is an initial £25 million deal from Arsenal. It could rise to £30 million with add-ons. As I say, a 5-year contract. He wanted first team minutes. He's 25 years of age. That's what he needs at this stage of his career. Nottingham Forest tried, Marseille tried, but he'll be playing his football this season at Selhurst Park. He's absolutely delighted to be a Crystal Palace player. Remember, Matt Turner, Trevor Challah, they could still be signed in the final few minutes of this transfer window. Maxence Lacroix, he's already joined as a Crystal Palace player. Mark Gay, he remains, the captain stays. This is looking like a really good deadline day for Crystal Palace.
Thank you very much, James.
And a man who has worn the shirt at Crystal Palace, the striker himself, is applauding. I think that tells us everything.
Nah, it's a good signing. Nketiah is a good signing. Listen, he'll find it hard to get in at the moment, but he's still at a good age. He scores goals. Mateta's done a fantastic job. They might lose Edward, sorry. There's been talk of him maybe going to Leicester. He might go now, but Nketiah is a really good sign. And I know Palace and Dougie Freedman's been a big admirer of him for many years, and he scores goals. I think when you've got people like Eze and Kamada that can give you chances, I think Nketiah is a good sign. It's been a good window. You know the best signing, though? Keeping Mark Gahey. I'll have to apologise because I came out here a week ago and said it's 100% done.
I remember you.
But I thought listen, you know I've got my inside scoops. I thought it was 100%, but then no, but listen, you have to realise in football the goalposts move. When you lose Joachim Anderson...
In the game, they stay where they are.
That's a saying. When you lose Joachim Anderson and you lose a centre-half for 30 million, and then your new signing, Riyadh, picks up an injury, then you're in trouble. That's 2 centre-halves. Mark Gahey stays, and that's the best signing. Well done, Steve Parish. Well done, Dougie Freedman. And Nketiah, a good signing as well. And Lacroix as well. Top signing from Wolfsburg.
They'll sleep well tonight. They've got your seal of approval.
Of course they have. I'm the king at Palace. You should know that, Prats. And South London. Let's move on.
There we go. Yeah, let's move on indeed. The goalpost move, which explains a lot about Clinton's career.
It's a saying.
Just over 10 minutes to go in this transfer window. Big Ben, when it strikes 11, the window will be shut. Of course, deals keep coming in, don't they, after 11. But this window that has been going strong all summer long, it's been a cracker, hasn't it? And there are still some big names set to move before 11. Do stay with us.
Permanent deal. That's because 2 weeks ago he was told he had no future at this club. So I think he would have preferred a permanent deal. But guess what? Arsenal came in for him. And I think the prospect of working with Mikel Arteta again, he has a really good relationship with him. And also the prospect of playing for Arsenal, a side who are challenging for the title, a side who are in the Champions League. That was just too enticing, and that is why he has agreed to move there on loan. I've just been looking at Arsenal's fixtures, actually. Of course, he can't play tomorrow because he hasn't been registered in time. Then it's the international break. After that, in 2 weeks' time, it's the North London derby. So who knows? That could be Raheem Sterling's first appearance for Arsenal if this deal does go through in an Arsenal shirt against their rivals Spurs on the 15th of September. But I'm sorry, I was just getting a little bit ahead of myself there.
You can get ahead of yourself, say the Arsenal fans, because they're delighted with this news coming out of Chelsea tonight. Thank you very much for now, Carvey. No doubt we'll be back to you shortly. Let's get to this breaking news, because Nottingham Forest have done something, and Rob Dorset can tell us what they've done. Rob, what is it?
They always do something on deadline day, don't they, Nottingham Forest? And they've done some good business. Again, I'll be quick because there's so much happening right across the country. Nottingham Forest have completed a £15 million deal. They've signed Morato, the Brazilian centre-back from Benfica. He's signed a 5-year contract. That's one deal done. James Ward-Prowse has been in the reception area behind me, strolling around in his Nottingham Forest kit. He looks like he's going to wear the number 18 shirt, so we fully expect that loan deal from West Ham to be confirmed very, very soon as well. Morato done, £15 million. James Ward-Prowse on loan from West Ham, about to be done. Another good deadline day for Forest, you have to say.
Brilliant stuff from you as always. Thank you very much, Rob Dorset.
4 minutes, 38 seconds. I tell you what, guys, I mean, Sterling, Sancho, Toney, big names on deadline day with 4 minutes to go. This is how it should be, isn't it, really?
Yeah, love it. We're all excited, aren't we, David? Come on, David. Give me a smile. It's lovely.
Stunning stuff
That's
from
how
you
it should be.
But that's what it's about, though, isn't it? And
Yeah,
let's be
of
honest,
course.
you look at the size of the names involved, because there is that general kind of consensus, maybe with PSR, maybe with clubs needing to cut the cloth accordingly, that deals like this towards the end aren't really the in thing anymore. And given the structure of football clubs, all this business should be done 2 or 3 weeks ago with everyone involved in the from the top down. But it gives us a bit of friction, a bit of excitement.
It does, yeah, it does, yeah.
What do you think, Sue?
I think it's great, Clinton.
Love Sue's opinions.
No, but I think, like you say, in an ideal world, clubs would have obviously wanted it done a long time ago, so that they
huge
can work
commodities
with
we're
the
talking
players.
about.
Of course, but the fact that it's happening on deadline day makes it really exciting for us.
And we just heard there that Sterling is now at Arsenal. He's out the training. I mean, take us into his head right now, Michael. What's he going through?
Wow. Well, it'll have been a strange few weeks for him. Every emotion will have been going through from that first day where he was left out the squad for the opening fixture against Manchester City. His mind will have been everywhere. What do I do? Where am I moving? Am I going to have a career in London? Is he going to be north? I mean, everything will have gone through his mind. And then when this opportunity came up, he must have thought, wow, I'm going to have played for Liverpool, Man City, Chelsea, now Arsenal.
Some CV that.
Wow.
But, I mean, the other bit about it that baffles you a little bit with Raheem, and the fact that it's for greater minds than mine, is that you've got a team in Chelsea that wants to rebuild, wants to challenge again. They could quite easily give them the key that unlocks the Premier League title, couldn't they, to Arsenal?
Exactly.
Because of financial... And it doesn't fit into the way of playing.
Yeah.
It baffles me, that.
Good point.
Yeah, very good point. What about the general business that Arsenal have done? If they add Sterling to Marino and to Calafiore...
Yeah, it's good. And Timber, throw into the mix. I know he's not a signing, but he's like a new signing. He was injured last season. He can play there. I know they still got Zinchenko, but he played there the other day at left back, and I thought he was fantastic. A really good footballer. It's good business. I like Raheem Sterling. I think the way he got treated by Maresca, if the stories and everything's true, is not right for me. Definitely not right. If you don't want someone, Jules, don't take me on pre-season. Don't tell me on the Friday I don't want to be involved. So to get a move to Arsenal, who will be challenging in the Premier League, I think it's a great move for him. And his experience as well. Raheem will go there, get his head down, and you know what, he can deliver.
Yeah.
He's not the first player to have been treated like this.
No,
by the
of course
way.
not.
He won't
Treated. We almost got it right. You said treated, you come back to Tret. We were almost there.
All right, treated like this. It will happen. Or, for many, we haven't touched on Ben Chilwell. What will happen to him? There's so many players tonight. We're talking about Sterling. We're talking about players that are on the move. There'll be so many there missed out.
Hold on, I'm just having some in my ear. Chilwell. Oh, he might be staying.
There we go. There'll be a lot of players that didn't get that move and not going through the same feeling that Sterling has at this moment in time. The excitement, a fresh start. Here we go again.
Here we go again. Still some big deals to be completed, but where are we? 10:58. Another deadline day is nearly done. A summer when the country transferred from Tory to Labour. All change at number 10. Number 9s were in demand as Solanke signed for Spurs. Chelsea chased Osimhen and Toney, but seems he's elected for the Saudi Kingdom, not the King's Road. Jadon Sancho is all set to switch party from red to blue as Manchester United gave a vote of confidence to their leader and a budget for a rebuild. No signs of austerity at Villa. West Ham, Brighton, they've flexed their financial muscle too. At Liverpool, Arna slotting in for Klopp at the top was about it. And they got the band back together in Manchester, didn't they? Yes. Guardiola and Gundogan reunited. Who did you think I meant? Some might say that Arsenal needed a striker. But that wasn't in Mikel's master plan, but he has seen the value in Sterling. It'll need a loan to get him. Whatever business your team's done, you now got to roll with it until January, when we will maybe, definitely, do it all again.
So it is 11 p.m. and the window is officially shut. What a deadline day it has been. The deals are still going through though. Raheem Sterling is at Arsenal and he looks to complete his loan move with them. Meanwhile, Chelsea are close to agreeing a deal to sign Jadon Sancho on loan from Manchester United. And we await confirmation of Ivan Toney's move to Al Ahly. He's completed his medical earlier. OK, so that is it. It's all over. Or is it? Huge news involving Chelsea in the last few hours as the deadline approached. Let's head back to our chief reporter, Kaveh Solokol, who's got the latest. So look, Kaveh, we're going to start with Chelsea and Sterling because we knew Chelsea were going to be perhaps the busiest in these last few days anyway. They've done exactly that. What's the latest? What's this deal looking like from Chelsea to Arsenal?
Well, I think it's almost done. It's very, very close to being agreed. We have spies everywhere around the football world, and somebody near Arsenal's training ground just in the last few minutes told us that they believe that Raheem Sterling had arrived at Arsenal's training ground. Of course, that would seem to suggest that it's almost a done deal. We also know for a fact that in the last couple of hours, Raheem Sterling's representatives and his lawyers had entered the talks with Arsenal as well. So this is a move that the player really, really wants. He's almost gone from being zero to a hero. He's gone 2 weeks ago from being a guy who was taken to one side after a training session at Chelsea and told by the head coach that he had no future at the club anymore, to 2 weeks later being told by Mikel Arteta, one of the best managers in the business at one of the biggest clubs in Europe, Arsenal, I want you to come and help Arsenal win the title again, help Arsenal in the Champions League again. So I think this is a dream move for Raheem Sterling. And I think we've got to be fair to him. You know, Chelsea fans, I think, have to be fair to him. This was not a move that he asked for. It's not him jumping ship from one London club to another. It was one club telling him, we don't want you here anymore. Now, the big question is, was it for football reasons or was it for financial reasons? Of course, when we've heard from Enzo Maresca, he's just said, look, it's a technical reason, it's a football reason. Raheem's a really good player, but he's not my kind of wide player. I'd rather have other people, other options, other signings as well. Or is it to do with finances? The fact that Raheem Sterling is one of the biggest earners, if not the biggest earner at Chelsea, 3 years left on his contract. Did Chelsea need to move him out for financial reasons? I don't know. I think there are two sides to the story. For what it's worth, I think it's a little bit vulgar in polite society to talk about people's wages. So let's just say probably it was for football reasons. Let's not talk about his wages. What he earns is his own business and nobody else's.
OK. It is quite a lot of money, though, just for the record. I can be vulgar. Look, let's talk about Jadon Sancho then, because where are we with him at the moment? Did that get over the line for those of us just joining us?
Yeah, I think that is very, very close to being agreed. I think we probably will get an official announcement soon. That is a loan with an obligation for Chelsea to sign him, I think, for around £23 million. Now, a lot of Chelsea fans will be scratching their heads and thinking, why are we signing Jadon Sancho? We don't need another wide player. We've got so many wide players already, great players like Cole Palmer, Madueke as well. We've got Mudryk. We signed Neto, João Felix arrived as well. He can play it out there. Why have we gone out and signed another wide player? We needed a number 9. Why didn't we get a number 9? I think the people who run Chelsea would say, look, Jadon Sancho is a very, very good player. OK, he had problems at Manchester United with Erik ten Hag, but 3 years ago he was an £85 million player We're now getting him on loan plus an obligation of just £23 million. And he's still young. He showed what he could do at Borussia Dortmund, especially in the Champions League last season. We believe we can get the best out of him. I hope, for Chelsea's sake and Jadon Sancho's sake, that they do. But I think it is a little bit of a risk.
All right, just finally, who's going to get the best out of Victor Osimhen? Or indeed, is anyone going to get the best out of him? Are we going to even see him kicking a ball? What's going on with him?
I don't know. Well, look, I can only speak from Chelsea's perspective. Very, very quickly, they made a final offer to him this evening. They were waiting for him to get back to them. The phone didn't ring. He didn't get back to them. That's the latest information I have. And what was it? About 20, 25 minutes ago, I was told that Chelsea were resigned to the fact that he wasn't going to come here. I think it's all down to finances. He has this incredible wage at Napoli. He was also offered this incredible wage at Al Ahly. Chelsea tried to push the boat out, but Chelsea's owners are trying to cut the wage bill here by 50%. So I don't think they could give Osimhen what he wanted. But they tried and they tried and they tried. I haven't had official confirmation that it's definitely off, but Sky Italy have said in the past hour that it's definitely off and he's staying at Napoli.
All right, brilliant stuff. Thank you very much. Kaveh maybe just didn't want to pick up the phone tonight, Victor Osimhen. Who knows? Right, Adama Sheth has joined me now. What's the situation with Reiss Nelson? Because we were hearing that he was going somewhere. Is that still on?
Last time I was speaking to you, Reiss Nelson, advanced talks with Ipswich Town.
Absolutely.
It looked like it was going to be a done deal, a season-long loan. With about 5 minutes of the window to go, I got wind of the fact that Reiss Nelson actually wasn't going to be going to Ipswich Town. He's actually going to be going to Fulham. And Fulham have submitted a deal sheet.
Okay.
Just in time to get this deal over the line. So they've got another couple of hours. So they've got the necessary signatures that they needed on that deal sheet, including Reiss Nelson and one from each club. So Arsenal and Fulham now are working on a deal that will see Reiss Nelson move from Arsenal to Fulham on a season-long loan and not from Arsenal to Ipswich, which was all the money it was going to happen as recently as an hour ago. But it just shows how things can change so quickly in a transfer window. And I know the window is now closed, but now Reiss Nelson and his representatives are working, well, into the early hours now to make sure that this deal does get over the line and that he's a Fulham player for the rest of the season.
So some disappointment then for Ipswich, though, because as you told me only an hour ago, that it was looking good. It was moving forward, that deal.
Yeah, they were pretty confident that it was the direction of travel, that Reiss Nelson was going to go and join Ipswich, and it would have rounded off a fantastic transfer window for Ipswich. I think you can still say it has been a really good transfer window for Ipswich anyway. This would have just been the icing on the cake. I think they did really want to bring in a forward player on deadline day. There was talk of Armando Broja. And that one, I don't think in the end they decided to go for. They just couldn't agree on a reduction on that obligation fee after the initial deal had fallen through because of an issue with his medical. And so they focused on Reiss Nelson. And I think there was a great deal of confidence that this one was going to happen. But for whatever reason, Fulham have come in and he's decided that that's where he wants to go. And now Arsenal and Fulham will be negotiating to get that one over the line.
All right, brilliant. Thank you very much, Dharmesh. OK, let's get it in Nottingham Forest, because they're always likely to be busy on deadline day, aren't they? Rob Dorset, I've got the very latest there. So just wrap up what's happened there today, Rob.
Just before I do, Vicky, on exactly the subject that Dharmesh was just been talking about there, and Fulham signing Reiss Nelson on loan, they think, that's really significant. There's another story that Dharmesh and I have been working on concerning Birmingham City in League One. Why are we talking about them? I understand they are hopeful that they have completed a £12 million deal for the forward Jay Stansfield from Fulham. That's an extraordinary story in its own right if they've got that one across the line. Almost 4 times what the highest level ever paid by a League One club was for a player during a transfer window, if they've got it over the line. My understanding was Fulham were prepared to do the deal if they could get another player in. So if they've got Reiss Nelson in time on loan, that might have been the trigger for them to do the deal with Birmingham. We'll wait to hear exactly what's happening there, but that's a hell of a big story in its own right at the death of this transfer window. And breathe. Nottingham Forest, you asked me about. Yes, another busy transfer deadline day for them. They tried to sign Omar Marmoush, the striker, but didn't manage to get that over the line. They weren't prepared to pay the 25 to 30 million pounds it would have taken to get a striker here. So there will be one or two Nottingham Forest supporters disappointed that they haven't done a striker today, but they've done some very good business, Nottingham Forest. We told you about 20 minutes ago, didn't we, that they'd completed the signing of Morato, the centre-back, the Brazilian centre-back from Benfica, a deal worth £15 million, 5-year contract that he's signed. Well, in the last few minutes, they've completed the loan signing of James Ward-Prowse from West Ham on a season-long loan. What a signing that is, by the way. We didn't think that West Ham would release him. Forest have managed to persuade them to let him go. So 2 more signings for Forest on deadline day. I'm going to try and get a word with James Ward-Prowse if we possibly can, so stay tuned to Sky Sports News. We'll bring that to you if we can manage it. But yeah, a busy day for Forest as well.
OK, Rob Dorset, thank you very much indeed. OK, as we were hearing, all the deals are coming in now, confirmed deals coming through all the time. And I can bring you some huge news now that Ivan Toney has indeed signed for Al Ahly. We heard earlier on, didn't we? We saw the pictures of him coming into London earlier on today and taking that medical. We were told that he'd passed the medical as well, but now he has signed the deal for Al Ahly. So Ivan Toney is now a Al Ahly player, and that deal has gone through right now. So we're hearing this breaking news as well. We'll get Kaveh Solokol to bring us more details on this story very shortly indeed. But hearing the news that this has now happened, so he is now an Al Ahly player. OK. Let's get to Scotland because Celtic have completed a record deal. Luke Shanley has the details on that one. What can you tell us, Luke?
Vicky, Belgian Arne Engels has signed for Celtic on a 4-year deal from Augsburg, and that, we believe, is a Celtic transfer record fee. Remember, they already received a Scottish record fee for Matt O'Reilly in this window. They've now broken their own transfer record in terms of bringing the midfielder to Celtic Park. He is in the building just now. He's been going through all the formalities, so he has been signed along with Austin Trusty as well. He signed from Sheffield United, the defender, for over £6 million. So Celtic spending some of that money they earned from Matt O'Reilly. And the Luke McCowan deal, that is one that we understand the paperwork was submitted before 11 o'clock, before the deadline in Scotland. So that they have an hour to complete that, and then it will be confirmed that Luke McCowan has joined. As the lights go on at Celtic Park, it must mean that something is happening here. And just in terms of Rangers, for £3.4 million from Sassuolo, they've signed the midfielder Barami as well, so he is in across the city. And remember, it's a huge game at the weekend here on Sunday when this place will be full. It's Celtic against Rangers, so the action keeps coming.
Thank you very much, Luke.
Right, let's talk about what's happened tonight. And I promise you, as soon as there's any more news on Sterling or Sancho or any other deals that are still to be confirmed, we'll get straight to them. Our team working hard out and about getting those bits of information for you. Let's just start sort of summing up, though, what we've seen over the last couple of months. I'll start with you, Clinton. Who's had the best window of the Premier League sides?
There's a few, to be fair. There's a few that I can think of. Brighton have had a good window. I think Ipswich have brought in some really good players, spent over 100 million. Brighton has spent over 200 million. Chelsea, I know they haven't still got that centre forward, but I still think they brought in a lot of talent, the likes of Neto that have come in. I think he'd be a brilliant signing. And Arsenal, if they get the Raheem Sterling deal, I think they've brought in pure quality that adds, and they'll be putting pressure on Man City. But the one I would say that have been very good window, West Ham United. Their window's been excellent. I think West Ham will have a big season this season. I think some of the signings, in particular, right back, I think Wan-Bissaka, a really good signing, and they've got quality already. So I think they've added a lot. And obviously, I think the best team that have had the best window is Crystal Palace, obviously, because Palace have bought in really well and they've managed to keep a lot of their top players. And I think it's been a fascinating window and a really good window. I've really enjoyed it.
Good, Clinton. And that's about 19 out of the 20 clubs you...
No. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, thank you.
I asked for one, but that's fine.
I needed to get more airtime.
Michael... you don't need that.
I knew you were going to say that.
Michael, I just want one from you. A club that you look at and think, ooh, they should have done something or done more.
Newcastle for me. I look at the way they've been in the transfer market. They've put all their eggs in the Matt Gay situation. Unfortunately for Newcastle, with the injuries in that position, with Botman out, Lascelles out, obviously Shah's going to be back from suspension, but that was a position that I thought they have to go and improve. And unfortunately for them, Matt Gay didn't happen. I look in attacking areas. They brought Asulu, is that right?
Yeah, Will Asulu
from Sheffield United. I'm thinking, is that one for the future? It wasn't too long ago we were talking about Newcastle are going to be looking at these superstars, supposedly. All right, can't spend the money that they've got, but I just think it's been a really hard window for Eddie Howe.
No, is that even more pertinent given what we saw from them last season with those injuries? Because that's what you said. Everyone's going, they're one of the richest football clubs on the planet, but they're not allowed to spend the money because of the parameters of move. If you're a Newcastle United fan, you're going, well, you've already seen what's happened when we were down to the bare bones. So why haven't we told it?
Well, they obviously haven't, for whatever reason, been able to do that. And it's surprising that you look at, even in midweek, I covered them in the Carabao Cup. Nottingham Forest made more changes than what Newcastle could make because the squad isn't big enough. Yes, they've been dealt loads of injuries, but the recruitment they've brought in, I mean, Lloyd Kelly on a free, it's a good signing. But you think it's a free transfer, it's probably a box ticked. Eddie's worked with him at Bournemouth before, yes. But I'm expecting Newcastle United, Champions League, what they're expecting these fans from where they've been with the richest owners, but they just can't spend it. And I think that for me, it's been hard for Eddie Howe.
I mean, here we are waiting for Arsenal to confirm Raheem Sterling. They've strengthened in a couple of areas. Manchester City, the champions, have brought in Savio. Ilkay Gundogan is back. But they've also let Julian Alvarez go, Sue. And, well, up to this point, we don't think they're replacing him. Could that come back to bite them?
I don't think so. I think they've got a strong enough squad to cover that. When that happened, I think we all thought, would they consider bringing in another striking option? But they've got players that can fit in that position if Haaland were to get injured. I think when Oscar Bob got injured as well, I think that's when we thought, oh, OK, maybe they will bring somebody in as cover. But, yeah, they've got a top-quality squad. Bringing in Gundogan, who's just going to fit straight in, again, can cover a number of positions. Just when you think that Manchester City might be weaker, I think we've done this before, haven't we? They've lost a player. They never are. They never are.
Yeah. And across the city at Manchester United, David, Owate confirmed tonight, 50 million or so from PSG. They've targeted various areas across the pitch, actually up the spine, new centre-backs, De Ligt and co, a new striker in Xerxes as well. Are Manchester United back?
Not to the levels of, I'd say, a Man City or an Arsenal, but that's not exactly the worst comparison because they are, Man City in particular, their universe is ahead, aren't they, with the way that they've gone about it. And Sue talks about their recruitment. Very rarely do they miss a player that's gone out the door, regardless of how good that player actually is. With United, like you said, the spine was something that needed to be addressed. They seemingly have done that. Got good money for Scott McTominay, given the fact that he's come through and been one of their own. So there is that element of good work being done. I still think there'll be a broader debate, and I see it all the time on Soccer Saturday, Soccer Special, with regards to who's actually in charge of those players. But the business model's changing. The way that they're approaching these types of players is changing. And like you say, you talk about players that are coming in that are potentially here for now, but also long-term replacements for existing players. That shows a good deal of foresight. Now it's just going to be the perennial thing that we've pointed at Man United over the last couple of seasons is you've got all these players, why can't they do it consistently on the pitch? That's the next big challenge for the manager.
You know what, Julian and Sue, I'd like to ask you, how do you think Everton have done?
Do you want me to say that?
Go on, Sue. I'd rather you did.
I think that the most positive thing is keeping hold of Branthwaite, keeping hold of Dominic Calvert-Lewin. The players that they've brought in, I think when they get used, hopefully that will, help them in the league. So, of course, I think as Everton fans, we always want players through the door, want additions, enhance the squad. But
you'll be all right,
I think hopefully
that's in defiance of what you've written there, but I won't say it. You that to yourself.
Shut up.
For the record, what she said. And of course, Oro Mangala signing for Everton on deadline day for the Forest man today. Right, enough of that. I'll be back to all four of you very shortly, but we've been waiting for news. Vicky?
Yes, indeed we have, haven't we? Let's get more on it because sources close to the player are telling us this deal is done for Ivan Toney to go to Al Ahly. Let's get more on it now with our chief reporter, Kaveh Solokol. What more can you tell us on this?
Well, look, I think the deal is basically almost done for Ivan Toney to move to Saudi Arabia. But we actually think that Brentford are still waiting for one piece of paperwork which needs a signature to arrive from Al Ahly. Once they receive that, then it can be confirmed 100% that Ivan Toney will be moving to the Saudi Pro League. Remember, the deadline in the Saudi Pro League is not until midnight on Monday. So there's no great rush to get this deal done from Al Ahly's perspective. I think it's a little bit disappointing that Ivan Toney is leaving the Premier League. I was looking forward to seeing a couple more of his no-look penalties this season here in England. But I guess that is now something that Saudi football fans can appreciate, because it looks almost certain that Ivan Toney will be moving from Brentford to Jeddah, where I'm sure he will be earning a very, very significant tax-free wage. And let's hope he enjoys his Saudi Arabian adventure.
Indeed, let's hope he does. Thank you very much indeed, Kaveh. OK, next we're live to Italy. Victor Osimhen could have joined Chelsea today. He could have gone to Saudi Arabia, but it looks like he's staying at Napoli.